Okay, so today we're going to be talking about reaching all learners, social and emotional learning, disability and inclusion. There's a few things that we can talk about. First of all, to make this a safe place for everyone, something that we will also talk about later, how to make a safe space for your learners. So in this webinar, please do not put any personal information into the chat box. Okay, your microphones and your cameras are disabled already. If you want to say anything, please use the chat box. Okay, if there is anything inappropriate in the session, then you can be removed. Moderators will remove you from the session if there's anything inappropriate being said. This session is being recorded, so if you do not want to participate, please, you are free to leave at any time. This is an inclusive event. This is a very inclusive event. So we do have a sign language interpreter that is also available. So you can find that in your panel. And I believe it says, I don't know what it says. I can't see it right now. It says, I think you can change the languages here. I think it possibly says global, but you can change the languages there. And also if you want a Burmese language, you can also change at any time. We have an interpreter. Okay, so please do use the chat function to interact with us. Can see lots of people now writing in there. And please, if you do have any very specific questions, then you please can put them in the Q&A. We will have a Q&A session towards the end for about 10-15 minutes. So please do keep a note of your questions or put them in the Q&A. Use the chat box for any sort of interactive things. Use the Q&A for only questions. Okay, you will get a certificate at the end when you complete the survey, so we will give you a link to that. And if you do have any issues, please do keep a note of the safeguarding team email, and please do report anything that you think is necessary. Okay, so now it is time for me to pass it over to our two speakers for today and welcome our teachers. We have teacher Tima Matet and also teacher Xin Lin. Tima Matet, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, thanks for having me here in this panel to talk about the topic that is really close to my heart, reaching all learners. I'm working as an executive director for Saya Foundation, which is an organization providing support to students, teachers, and schools across Myanmar. And I'm very honored to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Teacher Xin Lin, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Amy. Hi, everyone. My name is Xin Lin, and I'm currently working as Gender and Disability Specialist at VSO Myanmar. My work is to train community teachers about I'm giving training about disability sensitivity training and inclusive education, knowledge sharing, or to identify disability. I train them for Washington Group question sets, and also they are from different background and location of Myanmar. So my main job is like just building capacity of community teachers. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you very much to both of you for giving us your time and sharing your expertise with everyone. Okay, so let's jump into our first question today. So let's talk about the title of our session today, which is Reaching All Learners. What exactly does that mean for you? I'll just repeat that.
Should I start?
Yes, you may start, please do.
A very good question. Yes, this is a question we should be asking to ourselves all the time. What do we mean by reaching all learners? For me, this word, reaching all learners, represent a commitment to ensure that education is accessible, safe, and effective for every single student or learners, regardless of their backgrounds, their social status, their physical abilities, mental capacities, or learning styles. And the title itself, it seems to me it has two significant components. One is inclusion, and the other one is providing holistic support. So inclusion has so many aspects, and Mazele will highlight a lot, I'm sure. But to highlight a few, it's about welcoming children from all sorts of backgrounds in different shapes and colors and from different all walks of life, and recognizing and valuing diversity among learners, ensuring equal opportunities and resources for all of them, and creating an environment that accommodates various physical, cognitive abilities, social backgrounds, and identity. And for the second component, which is about providing holistic support, one, different kinds of learner enter our learning space or learning environment or our classroom. This support aims to meet individual needs, including their emotional, social, mental well-being, and strengthening healthy and positive relationships. In short, this topic, reaching all learners, goes beyond a one-size-fits-all approach to education, creating a nurturing environment where all kinds of children can thrive and reach their full potential. Yeah, that's what I understand about this work. Thank you.
Thank you. That's in Lynn. You're on mute, sorry.
Yeah. Can you please share the slide that I gave to you
Yes.
about all learners? Yeah. Reaching all learners means meeting the various needs of all learners. It takes strategies, planning, practice, and guidance. Not every child learns the same way, but every child has a chance to learn. Let's see the picture. All learners include these children. Yeah. Can you see in the pictures, children in remote tribal areas, walking children, children with disability, girls living in difficult circumstances, children with chronic illness, and also children, street children, also children of migrant laborers. They are, I mean, reaching all and I mean, these children, these conditions. So it includes all children, no? And we also require specific expertise, adaptability, and creativity to help your students with these conditions. We need to help students find their potential, as Samartat said. All students have potential, and it's our job to find that potential and push them. Whether we make up a game to challenge them or use a product to scaffold their learning. If we limit what we believe students can achieve or label them, they won't succeed those limitations. We also have to use incentives to motivate them. We use many incentives such as smile stickers, stars, and even candies to celebrate small wins for our students and motivate them to do their best. I like to ask the question, what kind of incentives do you use for your students to motivate their wins and achievement? You can put your answer in the chat.
Good. Would you like everyone to answer that one?
Yeah, if you can answer, but if you don't want, that's okay.
That's
Sticker,
good.
yes. Candies, yeah. Yeah. Yes. Stationery, yes, that's great. Smile stamp, that's wonderful. Yeah. Yeah. Toys.
I love
Points.
everybody.
Great.
Stickers.
Yes. Yeah, play a game, yeah. Yes. Thank you for your answer. Yes. Yes, we have a lot of evidence that students' confidence has grown tremendously because of those incentives. Yeah. Thank you for your answer. And another thing is we need to help students use their voice. Yeah, we have to give students a chance to discuss, problem solve, and develop the skills they need to become successful adults. Actually, we already know that they are not just come to school to learn math or English or history. They come to school to become a successful adults. So we also have to show students, like we help them. We also have to show the student that we are human too, because students often look up to their teachers. They look up to us as role models, but it's also important for them to see their teachers are not perfect. We are not perfect. Teachers make mistakes. We also have bad days. So teachers are not superhuman. We have to admit that. We have to admit to our mistake and let our students be part of the solution. When it comes to technology, kids are way better than us. And the children, they even taught us how to use kind of things like technology and things like that. So this also can be a great confidence booster for them. The most important thing is create a culture of inclusion. Whether you have one student with disabilities or a whole classroom, you know how important it is to keep your students motivated and engaged. The main things to reach all learners is we need to help them feel valued and recognized. Thank you.
Great answer. Thank you for that answer. That was very full, like really thinking about the teacher, what they can do, and also the teacher being human. It is very important that we have to admit our mistakes and know when we're doing something wrong. Good. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next question, which is what kind of barriers? So let's talk about the sort of the definitions of maybe some of the conditions that we might be seeing today. So what are the barriers that these learners are facing today? And sort of like what's going unnoticed? Mazinlin, would you like to answer first?
Yes, I think I will answer this answer first. Some people's understanding of disability is that they are considered as children with disability only when they have a physical disability, and some students who have learning difficulties are not considered as children with disability in some area, especially in our country, So no matter how much the teacher explains and teaches, if the student doesn't understand, he or she is punished in some ways. And they are compared with other good students by educators and also by their parents. So a student with disabilities are already faced with many barriers. Barriers to education can take variety of forms. They can be physical, technological, systemic, financial, or attitudinal, or they can rise from an education provider's failure to make available and needed accommodation in a timely manner. When we talk about barriers, in terms of financial barriers, inadequate funding is one of the main barriers. They were cited as the prime reason for delayed and diminished education services at the elementary and secondary levels, And another barrier is physical. In terms of physical inaccessibility, students with disability continue to encounter physical barriers to educational service, such as a lack of ramps or elevators in multi-level school buildings, and also heavy doors. Some doors are very heavy for children with physical disability. Inaccessible toilets or washrooms, or inaccessible transportation to school and from school. So these are main barriers. Another main barrier is policy barriers. Policy barriers mean denying qualified individuals with disabilities the opportunity to participate or benefit from programs or services. For example, some students with physical disability who are able to do like the other student without disability in the class, but their hands are not strong enough to write and take time to complete for the writing test. So they cannot complete the exam within the specified time. So because of difficulty writing, his score is lower than the others. So what kind of policy can we establish for such students? For example, if the exam time is 3 hours, can we give half an hour more for such students? Or we give them writing assistant who are from the lower grades. For example, the student is studying in 10th grade, he has to take exam. So can we ask a student from 9th grade to help him writing? So this kind of policy we have to make beforehand. So if we don't have that kind of policy, so children with physical disability, they have a lot of difficulty sitting exam in a specified time. So this is a kind of policy barrier. So we also have a lot of attitudinal barriers also. Societal norms often are the biggest barriers to inclusion. As you all know, all attitudes die hard. And many old attitudes are stay resisting the accommodation of students with disabilities and learning issues, and also those from minority cultures. Prejudice against those with difference can lead to discrimination, which inhibits the educational process. So these are the main barriers that students facing in these days.
Yeah, and I think it's used.
Yeah, I agree a lot of the points that you have mentioned, Mazin, and I really love the points that you're highlighting a lot on that policy and other factors that are impacting a lot on the children. I think it's not only for the children with disabilities, but also the children with other minority identities or marginalized identities. They are going through a lot. Like children who doesn't speak the majority language, the children who doesn't believe in the majority religion, the children who are from very, very remote areas, the children who doesn't have very high social status, or the children who are in very in a conflict area or marginalized areas, then like they are also going through a lot. But in general, I think a lot of children are facing the systematic discrimination in many sense. But today I'd like to highlight the thing that has gone unnoticed, which is social and emotional aspects. Not only the children with disabilities, but also children across Myanmar. Because before we go into schools, children's physical and mental readiness is assessed as prerequisite to entering the school system. If the children are not physically ready, they are not allowed to go to school. The schools don't really accept, and if they are assessed that they are not mentally ready, the same thing happening as well. And once they are enrolled, the focus is a lot on the cognitive abilities or their ability to read and write and sit exams. And it is measured through tests and grades to show how smart or intelligent the student is. And often the children's social aspects in emotional situation are being ignored in many aspects as well. Like when the children come back home from school, usually what the parents usually ask is like, oh, what did you learn today? Do you have a homework? As a way to show their love and care. But not many of the parents would ask like, how are you feeling today? If everything is okay with you, if there is anything that we can do for you, for your emotional well-being or social well-being, something like this, these questions are not being asked to the children, and not only at home, but also at school. And in one of the research that Saya Foundation conducted with children from 5 years old to 15 years old from different school settings and from different situations, we were asking a lot of questions around their well-being situations.
And about 70% of the children shared similar experience, expressing that they are feeling neglected by their parents and teachers regarding their emotions, their preference, and their identities as well. So a lot of the aspects that we don't see on paper or on the test are being ignored. And the other thing that the system is ignoring is the policy part that you were sharing. And the other thing is teachers' capacity and the school's readiness to provide the inclusive education. When it comes to the children with the disabilities or children from different backgrounds, a lot of people say, let's include everyone. But we are not really thinking holistically to include everyone. Are we assessing our infrastructures? Is our curriculum inclusive enough for every single children in the community? Even starting from the illustration, it's all about the not body, in terms of body, capable body children, or the children who speak majority language, or the children who are believing in majority religion. So our curriculum, our teachers' capacity, our infrastructure policy are not really ready to provide the education that can reach to all learners. But a lot of blames goes to the parents and the children themselves, and they don't get this kind of opportunity equally as many other people. So just to conclude, I think a lot of things are missing out in the education to create inclusive and safe learning environment for everyone in the system. Yeah.
Okay, great. So some people in the chat are also saying that, you know, if times are changing and we have lots of learners, there's many learners in the class, and of course maybe you can't always attend to all of them 100%, but what does, you know, if one of the students is suffering some kind of trauma or neglect, like what does that look like? What are the sort of signs that the teacher can look for? Because of course the teacher can only do what one teacher can do. So what could that teacher be looking for?
I think for me, from my experience as a teacher and working with other teachers in the community, there are different signs that children show through their behavior, through their communication, and through how they live their life. But sometimes the children don't express. So the children go on both extremes. Like they express in a very, very negative way, or they stay silent and they don't express anything, and you can't really diagnose anything as well. So and different children show their signs differently at different time, at different level as well. So it's really, really important for teachers to be curious all the time. Like if there are physical situation, emotional situation, social situation, and other aspects are really okay or not. And we have to be continuously observant to our children because different children show different signs as well. And we can't really say like these are the signs for this kind of children. We cannot say that. It's all because every child is very unique, and they have this unique way of expressing their stress or their traumas and things like that. But generally, of course, through their behaviors have changed negatively, or they are not really they may have a lot of fights with their friends. They may use a lot of bad words. They may cry a lot. They may be sensitive to a lot of words and things like that. Or they may feel insecure all the time and be protective to themselves, like defending to whatever is being said. So different symptoms, we have to be observant, take note, and keep talking to our friends and people who are connected to the children so that we can really diagnose what's going on. And the other thing that we can do is to really listen deeply to the children. A lot of the time when we are listening to our children, we listen with that intention to make changes in their lives. We want to give a lot of comments so that they get better. We want to ask a lot of questions. We want to suggest a lot, oh, you should do this and that, but we don't normally listen with an open heart to understand and to give a space for them, so that we don't really get real information or authentic information from our students. And if we really want to support the children with deep trauma or with difficulties, we really have to listen deeply with an open heart. And through that, we have to build trust and build relationship with them. Only then we can learn what's really going on in their life and understand them. So I think just to conclude, children show different signs at different time, at different levels, and we have to be observant. We have to be authentic, and we have to listen really deeply with an open heart, so that we can really see what's going on in their lives. Yeah.
Yeah, I like to add the sign that we need to look out for, that learner is struggling in the classroom. So the student may also have problems reading or writing. Also, they also may have problems with math or poor memory, and also problem paying attention. Also, trouble following direction. They can't complete the text what teacher gave them. And that these are the problems that we may unnoticed sometimes, and clumsiness, and also trouble telling time, and also problems staying organized. So these are the signs that we sometimes we unnoticed upon the students in our classroom. Yes.
I think from my experience as a big sister who is really supporting a teenager brother, is that they, like you have shared, it starts to show a lot on the attention span. They can't pay attention a lot. They start to neglect or ignore the people around them as well. And also there are some physical sickness that are affecting their mental and social them as well, because of their stress level, or because of they are going through a lot of these stress and emotional and mental distress are affecting a lot on their health. So like unknown reasons for the headaches or dizziness or feeling so tired, things like that. So physical, there are a lot of effects on the physical as well. Yeah.
Okay, great. And then what happens when nobody notices these things happening? The children are not the children are neglected, or they have some kind of disability. What happens then? What sort of the things that will lead to?
Yes. 1 in 5 students with learning difficulties are not formally identified. Students with a hidden disability get unnoticed because others are not aware of their condition. Not all disabilities are apparent from outside. There are so many physical, mental, or neurological conditions known as invisible or non-apparent disability. These kind of disability can limit or challenge a person's movement, sense, or activities, and can impact that person's ability to learn, especially in children. So invisible disability or hidden disabilities, such as learning disabilities, attention deficit, autism spectrum disorders, dyslexia and dyscalculia, also psychiatric impairment, Tourette syndrome, and seizure conditions, they are not easily noticed. So I just share hidden disability picture. If it's okay, yeah, you can see in the picture, those are the hidden disability. The picture is really small, but we can, yeah, we can see a lot of hidden disability here. These are unnoticed. So we have some ways to identify these hidden disabilities. So I will continue talking about how to identify hidden disability. So for children, the most prevalent disabilities are related to intellectual, as I said, intellectual functioning. It affects learning and behavior. So defining disability in children is more difficult than in adults. So how to identify? We use Washington Group question sets to identify children's disabilities. So I think most of the organization who are working for people with disability, they use this Washington Group question set for assessing the disability, identifying the disability. So for children, we use Washington Group question set names Child Functioning Module. Maybe you also know about that. This Child Functioning Module has two sets. One set is for children age 2 to 4. Another set is for children age 5 to 17. So we're using to identify the subpopulation of children age 2 to 17 years with functional difficulties. So these difficulties may place children at risk of experiencing limited participation in a non-accommodating environment. So we have, I will share those child functional module in the chat after that. Specifically, Washington Group does not use word disability. So most parents, you already know that most parents don't like to open about their child's disability to others. So we don't use the word disability. The way the question gets asked is like this. The next question asks about difficulties your child may have doing certain activities. We use those words, not using disability. We use another words like compared with children of the same age. So we use those words instead of talking about disability. I'm sorry for the noise behind. My house is near the railway track, so yes.
That's fine. It's fine, Mazin, we can't hear that much.
Okay. So in that form, when we assess the child functioning, so we use that kind of compared with children of the same age. So then the way you will actually respond is, would you say no difficulty? So we don't consider as that child is children with disability. So yes, if yes, some difficulty, we still don't consider as children with disability also. If the answer is yes, a lot of difficulty or cannot do at all, so we consider that children as children with disability. So there's 4 different points. That's sort of a scale of response, so that it's not just yes, no dichotomy, but it's actually give that a little bit more information about the amount of the impact of this difficulty. You can see the domains of functional difficulties measured by the child functional module. Please, Amy, please share the domains of child functional module.
I did. Already there. Yeah, good. Good. Timamatep, what do you think about what happens if if these things are not addressed?
I think I agree to Mazin have shared too about ignoring the needs of the children with disability and not really knowing it. I think since I am more leaning toward the social emotional aspect, so I want to highlight a lot more on social emotional aspect as well. So the consequences of adults ignoring social and emotional aspects of children are impacting both children and their community, including us, leading to stereotypes and feelings of exclusion, isolation, hopelessness, and despair as well. And the degree of seriousness may depend on their situation. Through this collective neglect of their social emotional situations and identities, I think children are really experiencing this reduced self-confidence, heightened stress and anger levels, I'm sure you have noticed a lot more angry children than before, a lot more stressful children and adults in 21st century. And these, like Mazili have shared, and diagnosed learning difficulties leading to unmet needs as well. Additionally, the neglect of children's social emotional well-being can have severe consequences, like potentially escalating to serious issues such as depression or anxiety. And in the worst case scenario, it may contribute to like tragic situations like suicides as well. So it's really important that we are really looking into the social emotional aspects of the children. It's not just a matter of academic success only, but it's a fundamental to the overall well-being and safety of children. Yeah, I wanted to share a little bit more on the psychosocial support intervention that we could do as well. So you may be saying like, yes, there are severe situations where the children might do suicides, or they may go through the serious depressions and anger problems and stuff like that. But there are still some things that we can do really to help our children. So there are a lot of research going on to provide the children psychosocial support intervention, and there are different levels. So like in level 1, like normally people have stress and it's normal. I mean, nobody is wrong if there is a person who doesn't have a stress or anger or right. So in level 1, yes, it's general population which can be affected by the normal, not very serious trauma or stress level. And if it is in level 2, there can be mild psychological distress. In level 3, mild to moderate mental health problem. And level 4, severe psychological problem. So even when it comes to the mental, emotional well-being, there are different levels of seriousness which are affecting to our life and our situations. And there are different solutions that we can take, different interventions, strategies that we can take as well. So for level 1, for normal situation, I think it's really important for us to really focus on basic services that we normally do, like recreational or expressional activities, something like coming together, asking the simple questions like, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Shall we do a lot of interactive games? And I saw in the comment that play-based learning, things like that, all these recreational, experiential, expressional activities help to reduce the normal, normal level 1 social situations. But for level 2, it's like, I think it's a bit more intense and a bit more serious. So we start to need serious look by the community and family support, like community activities, peer networking, having support groups, or like families thinking about solving the issues together openly with an open heart. In level 3, for the intervention, we can start thinking about supportive using non-specialized support, such as like they may not be trained as psychiatric or psychological experts, but maybe trained as counselors, or maybe just teachers who knows about psychological first aids, or through education programs. And the good thing is that through social emotional learning programs, SEL programs, we can support the children to intervene or to overcome the stress level 2 and 3. So if in the school programs or in the classroom, if we are integrating a lot of activities on safety, mental well-being, relationship skills, teamwork, empathy, compassion, self-awareness, etc. If we are integrating these things into our learning, we can avoid or reduce the mild psychological distress and mid to moderate mental health problem. But of course, there are situations that children are going through severely. In those cases, I am not encouraging you to just solve by yourself. We have to seek professional support from the psychiatric or psychological experts who have been trained to provide the systematic support to children. So if we are not really, if we have not cared to our children's to provide this social or emotional learning, the effect can be mild to severe, and there are a lot of intervention that we can do. Even though if they have gone missing, if you have noticed it now, it's not too late yet. You can still integrate social, emotional learning activities, recreational, experiential, expressional activities to help them feel better or overcome their situation. But of course, we have to find this professional contact so that we can support the children as much as possible. Yeah.
Good, thank you. Like you said, there's sometimes that professional help will be needed. And of course, that's for the teacher to also think about. But we can also think about what we can do in the classroom. So let's talk about some possible strategies or ideas or activities we've got that we can give people to take away. And one of the first questions also other people are talking about is this idea of also creating the classroom that's like a safe space in the classroom. So that's kind of the first question of like, how does the teacher kind of create this safe space? Because when some students have some issues about, there's one question about like gender and sexuality and like feeling comfortable in the class. And, you know, you're talking about the students being able to talk to the teacher. How do you create that kind of environment? And what kind of activities could you use to also encourage social emotional learning, but also sort of include all learners and sort of like highlight and promote diversity in the class?
The fundamental, sorry.
Yeah, no, go.
Okay. The fundamental right of children with disability are to feel safe and to flee from bullying, harassment, and abuse. A safe learning environment is crucial for all students with disabilities and without disabilities. There are various components that contribute to create a safe learning environment, such as physical safety, emotional safety, and cultural safety. So we also need to know that the impact of an unsafe learning environment on students' mental health, academic achievement, and sense of belonging. So we educators have to promote safety and inclusivity in the classroom, such as creating clear expectation and boundaries. Setting clear expectation and routine removes the threat children may feel when they don't know what to do next, especially if they are shy, anxious, or struggling to ask for help. And also, we have to foster positive relationship. And also, we have to promote diversity and equity. Creating a safe and inclusive classroom includes diversity and inclusion. Acknowledge and appreciate the diversity of your students' background, cultures, language, and abilities. So creating a safe and supportive learning environment empowers students to reach their full potential. So in conclusion, creating a safe and inclusive classroom is a continuous and collaborative effort that involves not only teachers, but also students, families, and communities.
I think I'd like to add on that part, the definition of the word safe. So in SIA Foundation and in the work that I do, when it comes to safe learning environment, we define safe not only as the physical safety, but also as mental safety. And I love the word that you were saying, cultural safety as well, Mazelin. So we also have that there are different kinds of safety that we have to look when we are creating safe learning environment: physical safety, emotional safety, social safety, sexual safety, environmental and technological safety, and spiritual safety. So the children comes with different sets of backgrounds and identities and preferences as well. So based on their background, based on their spiritual belief, based on their abilities, and they shouldn't be neglected or discriminated or excluded. Everyone should feel included, appreciated, and their voice should be heard. So when we are creating an environment, learning environment, maybe in the classroom or outside the classroom, it should be physically safe for children. And we also have to have policies, and we should have preparations that the children have this free from the sexual harassments and abuses as well. And also for the children to be free from social violence and social discrimination. Like Ms. Lee have said, everyone should know how to really interact with other people, how to build positive and healthy relationship with different people as well. Sometimes we are not sure how to talk to children with disabilities, or children from a different culture, or children who are believing in different religion. We really have to educate the children that these are the way to interact with others. These are the way to build healthy and positive relationship with your peer. In this way, we can create social safety for children as well. So there are different perspectives that we have to look, and it's not an easy thing for a teacher to be creating this safe learning environment for the children. But the good news is that it's not only the responsibility of teachers, it's the responsibility of every single one who are connected to children, including their parents, the community, the policy makers, and the schools as well. A lot of the time, the teachers have been given this whole responsibility that you are the teacher, you have to create this learning environment safe and inclusive. No, it's not correct. It's everyone's collective responsibility to create safe learning environment. So from the school administrator to school janitor who are cleaning and everything, everyone should understand how to support the children to be safe and to be inclusive as well. And one of the activities that I wanted to highlight is about highlighting the power within of the children. I really believe that everyone has the power within. Because of the power inside us, we keep going. It can be our love, it can be our patience, diligence, our compassion, maybe empathy or our hope, or there are so many other powers and things inside us. So even in the difficult time, the power inside us fueled our energy, and then we move forward. So it's really important that we highlight the power within the children themselves. The children has a whole set of power, and sometimes we forget to highlight their power. It may be very similar to highlighting or saying positive affirmation to the children. So like if we are greeting to our children, if we are talking to our children or working with children, please make sure to highlight the power within them. Oh, wow, you're so amazing. You are very diligent. You're very good at this. I really appreciate that you have patience to do this. You have prepared this and that. So if we are highlighting the power within the children or power within each other among colleagues, we can really provide emotionally and socially safe space for children to grow, to make mistakes, and to learn together in a happier space. So yeah, creating safe learning environment can be one of the most challenging things in the world, but it would be the most rewarding things that we can see if we really can create this for all the children in our lives and in our country.
Thank you. There's a question here that's about, because we're trying to create this safe space for our learners, but what if there is one learner or a few learners where you're talking about the angry learners, or their behavior is sort of might be overtaking some of the other and sort of disrupting the class? Do you have any sort of practical advice for helping to deal with or manage these kind of learners, and also be, inclusive and include everyone, like you said, like include all the learners in that?
Yes, for those who have students who are experiencing difficulties with behavior and emotional regulation, please make procedure clear. Make sure there is no gray area. Please work together, make eye contact with your students and the student each other. If possible, sit in a circle build trust between you and the student. Tell the students that this place is a safe place for everyone. We know behavior is a result of the environment we create. I have an experience of one of our students. When I was working in the disability center, we have one child with ADHD. Most of you already know about ADHD. ADHD is lack of focus, distract easily, something like that, disorganized, and their symptom is like this. So in that day, we had many guests, and we were talking in the living room of the center. While the child's teacher was talking to the guests, the glass door of the living room was closed. So he wanted to go to his teacher there, but he couldn't get him. So he smashed the glass door with his hand. What are your thoughts in this case? What should we do before that incident? So for that incident, for that child, we should have helped the child express his emotions positively. Sometimes, you know, it's hard enough for an adult to explain what they are feeling, and it's harder for a child, you know. So we should have set the rules also. In that case, he could enter the living room other days, but he was not allowed on that day. So it's very important that we are consistent with discipline and rewards. We also have given suggestions to parents to cut down the electronics. So too much screen time can actually make the symptoms of ADHD worse. To be clear, screen time doesn't cause ADHD, but for a child already diagnosed with ADHD, so limited time spent in front of a device like phone could be helpful. So we also have to teach the students compromise and negotiation skills. For every task the child completes, he gets something he likes to do. For example, playing outside for 15 minutes. So another example for a child like very angry or hitting others, or it was his way of showing he upset. So we will compromise that. Now he can scream instead of hitting others. So it's still not pleasant, but he's not hitting anyone. It's a good compromise. So this is the way we can control a child with behavior problem. Yeah.
Mate.
Yes, I wanted to share a few sets of activities that we are sharing with other teachers in our network of Saya Foundation as well. I think would you mind sharing the poster that I shared before? But before that, a few activities that I wanted to share is one big thing is teaching the children to express their feelings. We grew up without having to express ourselves. Boys are being taught that, like, you are a boy, don't show your emotions, don't cry, you are a boy, something like that. And when we grow up, when we show our expressions or when we express our feelings, we are usually assumed as weak. But emotions are with us all the time. If we don't express that, it added to our internal struggle, internal stress, and causing us to express in a bad way, like anger and things like that. So please teach your children and yourself and your friends to express your feelings in a positive way. Of course, because of your anger, you can't go around and beat people, right? You have to show your feelings, but in a positive way, in the way that you can express, but in the way that doesn't hurt other people as well. And the other thing is letting the children play, using a lot of physical activities like Mazinlin was sharing. Let them play. Only when they are young, they can go around, climb the tree, run around, you know, and when we grow older, we can't do that all the time. Like I am taking a role in this organization. I can't just run around the house and on the street and play around. I have too many responsibilities to do that. But for children, only this time they have this chance to play around, and let them do that. Let them stay close to nature. Let them climb, let them do things safely so that their physical and mental and emotional well-beings are on the good side, on the positive sides. So please let them play, please use a lot of experiential and physical activities. And in the poster that we are going to show just right now, please use a lot of positive greetings in the classroom, checking in for their feelings and situation. I think journaling exercises are really good for them to express their feelings and also what's going on in their lives. And I think there are so many other activities in the poster. Amy, can you please show again?
Yeah.
The words in the poster may be small, but we're gonna share with you later. So you will be able to zoom it and then see it. So like the other activities that we have posted and below is that like reflection exercises and kind greetings, deep listening exercises, mindfulness exercises, highlighting power within, teamwork, project-based learning, power sharing culture, creating safe space and checking in. All these activities really helps the children to improve their social emotional learning. In this poster, you will see a child on both sides, right? Social and emotional. So to improve the social and emotional situation of the children, there are different sets of things that they can learn, like social awareness, relationship skills, social skills, problem solving, etc. All these skills in the middle can be taught through those activities that I have mentioned in a safe space. And if we can really do a lot of these experiential learning in a safe space, is really have a lot of positive impact on the children, not only on their academic achievement, but also we can really help them become confident children, improve their behaviors in the classroom, build stronger community, and even more self-aware individuals. And these activities can be used, can be applied as integrated practice or dedicated practice. Integrated practice is to integrate these activities into our normal learning. When you are teaching mathematics, when you're teaching Myanmar, maybe first three minutes before the lesson, they do 3 breath exercise, breathing in, breathing out, something like this, integrating into our lessons. Or dedicated practices as like, okay, this is our self-care session. Let's do something that is really good for our self-care, something like this. So through integrated practices and dedicated practice, we can really provide better social, emotional, safe space for children for better results in their daily life and in their community.
Xin-Lin, is there anything you'd like to add to that?
Yes, I like to add that when we help children to understand that we all find certain things challenging, so they don't think it is always the child with disability. So asking children, how can we support each other? So something like that. We also have to think about other students in the class without disabilities also. So for today, I like to the audience to take away is for creating inclusive environment, giving the teacher support and assistance is very important. Teaching students with disability calls for a lot of self-compassion. So teachers already experience moments of stress, anxiety, and pressure managing students without disabilities. So the key here is to pause when you need to. And remember that you too, just like the student with disabilities, are giving your best. So we just need to expand our skills. We also need to honor the needs of all students equally, and we will always celebrate diversity and individuality. Thank you.
Thank you very much, teachers. We've got just a couple of questions. We have a little bit for just one question that I think is quite important here, that someone has asked, Almiatu, which is about the parents. Now, if you think that there are some students that are going through some difficulties, maybe they have disability, maybe they're also just suffering in a social emotional way. But if the parents do not quite accept it. Is there anything that you think there that you can do, any way that you can address that with the parents?
Yes, as I mentioned before, that Washington Group doesn't say anything about disability, so they use the word difficulty. So when we ask, if compared with the same age, if your child has a difficulty doing certain thing, so when we ask about the difficulty, they accept it. And we can we can educate them difficulty, and after that we can educate the parents that about the children disability. So they gradually accept, not in immediately. So we start with difficulties. So if difficulty, they accept. But if we use the word disability, they can't. So we will gradually inform that these are kind of disability, something like that.
I want to add a few things on these questions. From my experience working with a lot of parents, sometimes it's because of the social norms, thinking that disability is a very bad thing, or having difficulties in learning is a terrible thing, and their child might be excluded from their social groups, or they may be looked down or discriminated against from this society, from the school community, or from their friends groups. So generally, because of that, parents find it really difficult to accept, or even to say that their children are going through a lot of difficulties and they are having disabilities as well. So I think there are a few things as teachers and as educators that we should do. One is, of course, to really understand what the child is really going on. The second thing is to really help the parents to help deepen their understanding on the difficulties that their children are going through in a constructive way, in a safe way. Because if we are going to say like, oh yeah, your child is going through this, he's bad, he cannot do this and that, of course they will feel shocked and difficult to accept that. So like Ma Zinlin was saying, we have to slowly support the parents to be ready to listen to this conversation, or go through or participate that, and then collaborate with them so that they can support the children together with the teachers. And the other big thing that we shouldn't be missing out is educating the children and the people who are not really going through difficulties or having disabilities, because of those people's understandings are very lacking, and they don't really know what is it really like to be a disabled, or like what is it really important, or how can we treat to the people with disabilities or difficulties. They tend not to talk about it. But I think we should educate those people who are categorized as normal about these things as well. Let's normalize that. Everyone has difficulty. Everyone has different kinds of challenges, and we may have learning disabilities or challenges, or someone in our family, someone close to our heart may be going through that. And how are we going to support that? We have to really educate the people around us, although they may not be categorized as people with disabilities or people with difficulties. Yeah, so please, let's educate that to every single one in our community, while supporting the children and parents of children with disabilities. Yeah.
Thank you. Like you said, it's very important to be able to like name each of these things. So it's educating them, but also educating yourself first. And as the teacher, that's all we can do, is try and find out these things, find out this information about what to call these things, about people with disabilities, or if they are not don't have disabilities, what to call it. Someone's asking a question also about anxiety, you know, and children that are more introverted. Of course, these things also need to be address. So it's like, how do you also address them? But there are many, many things that we can also talk about. But I hope that we have come to the end now. There is another question here that's about the Washington set group. So I don't know if it's possible that maybe later on we will save this question and then we can send out another answer about that later. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. I hope it was useful for you. I have put the PDF into the chat box, so I do hope you can find that. Have a look, and there's also a couple of links in the chat box as well, so you can go back and have a look at those. So we are coming to the end of the session, unfortunately. I hope some of your questions were answered. Of course, there's a lot of things that we can ask in this topic. So hopefully some of your questions have been answered there. Okay, here is the link for the end of the survey that you can give some of the feedback from the session. I'll leave that there just for a moment. I think we will also put it in the chat box. I'm sure it will get put in the chat box also. The next webinar coming up, that will be next Wednesday, and is a webinar about talking, very about communicative activities and getting your students to be speaking more in class. If you feel like some questions today were a little bit about, how do I get my students talking, or, if they're introverted or if they're feeling shy, or so if you want to know some of those techniques, then you can please join next week. And also an upcoming course, which actually starts today. It was supposed to start yesterday, but I think it's actually starting basically today and yesterday. It's just started. So you can, if you are interested in learning more about these topics, then you can please do join this course. It's only for about 3 weeks. So there'll just be some activities. And I think there's usually a good amount of content in here. It's not overloaded with content too much. So it tries to give you sort of the main points about inclusion in the classroom. So exactly what Mazin Lin and Martin Matet have been talking about today. So finding out about your learners and being able to name those things in the classroom, and you being articulate in what's happening in your classroom. So I hope that this was productive for everyone today. Thank you very much. Please do have a look in the chat box for things you can. And thank you very much to everyone for joining. Speakers, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us here, and thanks everyone who are listening to us with an open heart. I really wish all the best for your journey. May you all be happy, healthy, and may you all be in safe spaces while creating safe learning environment for everyone in your community. Best of luck to you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.